Hello and welcome to today's Sunday service. It is time to create a space to be comfortable and supported physically and spiritually to receive today's meditation. Take a moment to connect to your breath. As you inhale, notice all the places where your body is tense or holding tightly. And as you exhale, let your muscles relax, your face soften, any tension release as your spirit settles into where you are now. Notice your breathing. As you take each breath, notice how it sustains you perfectly right now. Notice how perfect you are right now. Let yourself settle and relax even more deeply into your heart space. As you move deeper into your heart space, notice how you feel about where you are now. Notice that in this place you have God. As you inhale your next breath, breathe in this truth that where you are now, you are safe, loved, and you are with God. As you exhale, let this truth integrate deeply into your soul. Let yourself steady into this truth. Where you are is perfect. As you are is perfect. Because you have always been with God. As you stay gently connected with your breath, let any old ideas of imperfections or self-rejection wash away with your exhales. Let yourself be as you are. Love yourself to be as you are. You can be as you are because you are always with God. As you settle here, let your awareness gently come back into your body. Let your new level of self-acceptance come in to your body. As you are ready, let your full awareness come back to the room. And have many blessings as you receive the rest of Sunday service.
Hello, I'm Virginie and I will do the card reading for you this week. I will use the Oracle deck Whispers of Love by Angela Artfield. And I pulled 3 cards for you this week. The first one is this one. Appreciate this moment. And the message is every situation is an opportunity to grow and find love. What I'm receiving from this card, it's totally related to the message of this week, which is love yourself. Love yourself as you are now, where you are, and in the moment. So appreciate it, enjoy it. Enjoy yourself in your reality as it is now. Be present with this and love it completely. What I'm receiving as well from this card is that God is with us in the present. God is always with us. God is guiding us. God is showing us the next step. And the next step is the right step for us. The challenges we see in front of us are the right one for us to grow and find love, as says the card. So, yes, it's the idea, be present and trust that God is with you and is guiding you and showing you your way, which is unique. And love yourself there. And the second card is totally complementary to this, is have patience. And the message here is love is patient and kind always. So the idea here is we're learning to love ourselves. We're learning to love ourselves as we are, where we are, and it's an act of kindness. So it's safe to be patient, to trust, and to be kind. Learning to love ourselves, it's also learning to be kind to ourselves. And it's really key in that process because it's challenging. Because as the sermon shows us this week, it's a totally new way of loving ourselves because we used to project ourselves in the future and not in the present moment. So it's safe to be kind. And I also really like the illustration of this card because it's for me it describes really well the process we're talking about this week, because it's a child, it's a little girl, and she's playing. And while she's playing a game is just observing, being present to herself, to a feeling, to a sensation, because she's submerging her hand in the water. So she totally observing, feeling, and seeing, watching what's happening when she's doing this movement. And what it's really interesting on this card is that she's not alone. That around her there's a whole universe surrounding her. You can see skies, different states of skies, stars, mountains, nature, water, waves, clouds. And you see those rivers. Those rivers are flowing, they are moving, they are nourishing the water where she is submerging her hand. So the message here is you're surrounded, you're helped. God is there. The universe is helping you, supporting you, contributing to nourish your path, your way, your process. So you can trust, you can be faithful, and you can be focused on the present moment, on your game, on your challenge, on your observation, because the universe and God are there for you. What you perceive in your reality through your senses, through the view, through the touch, through the feelings as well, it's really limited. regarding the whole universe that you can see around a child, and the whole universe is also there for you. So it's safe to love yourself here and now as you are, as this small little girl that is learning how the world is working and how does she feel while she's experimenting the world in front of her. And the last card, the third one, is new love. And the message is embrace an opportunity for love in your work prospects or for spiritual growth. And what I'm receiving from this card is related to the mirror exercise, which is the tool the teachings of unions teach us to help us to go through the challenges, the feelings, the upsets. The mirror exercises helps us to bring love in new places, to feel love and to express love and to give ourselves love where we didn't felt love in the first place. So to me, the new love is these new places where we bring love within ourselves, in ourselves, as we learn to love ourselves in a new way, in new places. We bring new love to ourselves. So that was the card reading for today, for this week. Hope you enjoy it. I was really happy to do it for you, and thank you.
Hello everyone, welcome to this Sunday service. I hope you are having a good time. I am Yorine and I'm very happy to be with you today. I am going to introduce Shaleia's sermon on accepting yourself no matter what the situation is and no matter what you are going through. So, I want to preface this introduction by kind of going into what we are experiencing as a society and as consciousness right now. A lot of people, I would say, are on a spiritual journey, are on a journey of self-help and self-love and self-development. And so we all know that and desire, we have a desire to attain that better version of ourselves. Truly, I truly feel that a lot of us are in some ways desiring to attain that better version of ourselves. And I feel like it translates into very different thing depending on what you value. Some people will want to attain the betterment of themselves through career. Some people would want to attain the betterment of themselves through sports, through spirituality, through self-love, through family and loving relationships, and also actually being a better person and going through therapy and things like that. So in a sense, a lot of us are desiring to be on a path of self-love. And so in that category, there is a subcategory of people that are on the spiritual path, like me and you, who are watching this video. But I feel like in this consciousness of being the better version of ourselves, sometimes we forget to kind of accept where we are right now. We forget I guess that it's okay to make mistakes, and it's okay to not be perfect right now. You know, what I mean by that is that I would see a lot of people, friends and family, close circles, and even people that I don't know, kind of guilting themselves into doing things all the time. Oh, if I miss sport today, I'm a bad person, for example. Or if I um, if I don't do this, and this in a certain amount of time, I'm a bad person. And all of these things that are a mess in my life need to be fixed. And yeah, I kind of find myself doing that too. And I think that is what Shaleia is addressing in her sermon. Very beautiful sermon, by the way. She's addressing the fact that there's no need to fix ourselves. Church of Union and the teachings of Union and what Jeff and Shaleia have taught us, and yeah, just made us believe into, which is the truth, is that we are divine and we are perfect as we are. We don't need changing. We don't need to be fixed. There is no fixing because there is no mistake. God is with us always, and God created us, and God created us perfect. And so, there, from that logic, it's a very logical thing. If God created us perfect, there's no need to fix something because we're not broken. We don't need repairing. And what I do feel is that sometimes we have a tendency to be very, very harsh on ourselves, harsher than anyone else. We have a lot of expectations, and I think maybe there is a culture of hustling and perfectionism that has come from maybe our background and culture too, that makes us feel that we're never good enough or never worthy, never perfect. And that is not what the spiritual path is about. What I would say is that we didn't come to the spiritual path to suffer. Really, truly. We came to have fun. Like, life is meant to be fun, and it doesn't mean that it's always easy. It doesn't mean that it's never challenging. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't strive to be the better version of yourself, but it also means that you should relax and take it easy. I'm going to give you an example that I had a few days ago, right, the weekend right before Valentine's Day. We're not too far from Valentine's Day at the time of this service, so I'm just going to talk about a very recent experience that I had. And the experience that I had was that the week before Valentine's Day, I was feeling very, very bad, very, very bad. And I had been growing for several weeks now through what people would call a dark night of the soul. And so, yeah, I felt like I was depleted. I felt like I was at my wits' end, like I was on my edge, like I was even either going to come back up stronger or I was going to fall. And I feel and think all of us have gone through these experiences at least once or twice in our life. That is very normal. Everyone is going through these challenges. And I perfectly knew that. But the problem was, the more we were going through this, the more I felt like I wouldn't get up, basically. And yeah, it came to Sunday morning, and I was in bed. I was I was feeling like I had so much work to do, I had so many tasks, so much to give to other people, but I couldn't get up. And I was actually beginning to fall sick, and I was feeling very bad and very guilty. I was like, God gave me this task for a reason, and I have some deadlines, I have things to do, I have projects, and I know from the teachings of Union that God wouldn't give me all of this if I wasn't able to handle all of this. And so I was like, what am I going to do? I don't have the energy. I feel so bad. And so I reached out to my coach, and I think there was a little sentence that she said that talked about guilting myself and thinking that I was bad and broken, I guess, that kind of woke me up. And just talking to her and talking to my friends in the community, it already felt better. And what I actually needed was to go out, go on a walk, and go eat lunch outside and go romance myself. And basically, that is the truth of the spiritual journey. We're meant to feel good. And then I healed some blocks, and then I've never worked better in my life. I never had such a good flow in my life. And the reason is I gave to myself first. I chose to relax. I chose to surrender to God. I chose to surrender to my flow. And I was always thinking that I needed to force myself to do things. And that is something that Jeff mentions when he talks about HTFU. Sometimes we think that we need to push through and force and heal and work until we have harmonious twin flame union. But what it requires is actually to take a step back, to breathe, to surf through the flow of life that God is giving us. And from that ebb and flow, you can actually feel and see better the upsets. And one of the upsets that you're going to heal is the one that is going to take you all the way through harmonious twin flame union. And that's what I experienced. I guess because I first gave to God and to myself, I was able to give to everyone else. I was able to do all my tasks. I was able to feel better. So yeah, moral of the story is I don't need fixing. I don't need to force myself. I don't need to feel like I have to suffer. And I'm definitely perfect. And yeah, I just need to surrender to the flow. And I think that's a big lesson for everyone in the community, every one of you that is watching, that are watching, and also everyone in the world, because that's not something that is talked about a lot. And so what I would say is that the Church of Union is really teaching us how to handle these things, and really how to be better at relaxing, and at the same time being so strong that nothing would scare us, nothing would make us fear life. And yeah, if you feel called to support the work that we do here, which means to make people feel better and make people feel more confident and less stressed, and go through the healing that I did, I would definitely invite you to tithe to the Church of Union, because your donation would definitely help people like me and like you to understand that there's a better way. There's a better way than hustling and stressing and thinking that you are broken. And yeah, I just want to invite you to donate if you feel called to. And I also want to invite you to really meditate on the very powerful nuggets that Soraya is going to give us during this sermon. It's a really beautiful sermon, and I hope that you will enjoy it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sunday service. My name is Shaleia, and I'll be your Minister of Union for today's service. Before we begin, let's get started with our 3 opening ohms, followed by our opening prayer. You can either join us aloud or quietly in your heart. And now for our opening prayer. I am the only child of God, forever part of Him. I am created by Him in perfection, and there I always remain. My mind is my sanctuary, where I keep His holy creation sacred. I will only allow in His voice. I will only accept His word. Today I will hear the word of God. I surrender myself to His teachings through His divine channel. I will honor what He has spoken and accept it as His will. I will be obedient to His word, for this is my salvation. In Christ's name, Om. Amen. Hello, everyone, and like I said, welcome to today's Church of Union Sunday service. Today, I want to talk about accepting yourself right where you're at on your journey. No matter where you're at, no matter what you're struggling with, no matter what you're feeling, no matter what you're experiencing, just absolutely loving yourself where you are and just knowing that that is the key forward. That's the thing about Jeff and Shaleia's teaching, is that they teach that separation isn't real, that you are already one with God, you're already one with your good, and that there's just the belief that there's something separating you from God. And as a result, because only love is real, there's never a reason not to accept yourself. There's never a reason to feel like you're a problem or that you need to change because you're not divine. You can truly rest in the truth that you are okay, that everything's fine, that heaven is real, that love is real. And it's okay if there's parts of us that feel like love isn't real. We can love ourselves there. We can love ourselves with the mirror exercise, as taught in the teachings of unionism. It's okay if there's parts of us that feel bad, that are struggling, that are afraid, that are running patterns and feeling stuck and feeling overwhelmed. It's okay to have all of these experiences. They're not a problem. They're not something that need to be fixed so that then we can be with God. That's not the mentality. That's not the attitude to have. Because if we believe that we need to fix ourselves in that sense of like we're a problem, then we're judging ourselves as not divine. But when we affirm the truth that we are divine, then all that needs to be done is us just loving ourselves where we are. It's us accepting the truth of where we truly are with God and spiritual truth, and not buying into the illusion and the lie that love isn't real, that we are separate, that we do need to change, that we do need to be different. And now I'm not saying that we don't need to make new loving choices. Of course we do. And that's why we do the mirror exercise. That's part of, that's a spiritual practice that Jeff and Shaleia teach in the teachings of union. But there's nothing wrong with where we are now. We don't need to reject ourselves, because that's like kind of a sneaky way that ego can kind of get in and say like, oh, well, you're doing inner work because you see that you're not where you want to be, and you're going to make yourself change, and you're going to fix this problem that you have over here. And you'll believe that, you're moving forward, and that your self-rejection and being unhappy with where you're at is actually helping you move forward. But Jeff and Shaleia teach that unconditional love is really the way. And another thing about it that's really interesting is that there's a way that we think is right. This reminds me of a Bible verse. It says that there's a way that man thinks is right, but leads to destruction, something along those lines. It's like basically describing how, our understanding a lot of times is limited, and we have in our mind what we think is right, and it actually ends up in destruction. And so that's not the way that we know how to move forward. But how we do know to move forward is by being where we are and loving ourselves in this space. And that is the way. Like, that is what shines a light on the next step and the next step. And it's just about loving this moment, because like I said, the truth is what's happening. And so self-rejection is never the way. You never have to feel bad about yourself. You never have to feel ashamed of yourself. It's okay if these things come up, if you see them in yourself, but you don't need to hold on to that. That's not actually helping you be with God. And we never had to believe the lie that that is the way. I know for me, for most of my journey, before I found this work, I really believed that I could fix myself. I thought that, I'm just like some kind of puzzle with a problem, and I'm going to solve this puzzle, I'm going to solve this problem, and I'm going to do all the right things, and I'm going to get a result. And it was actually a controlling energy, and it was actually like self-protective of like, I wanted to control in order to feel safe. I wanted to control in order to try to ensure my good, to make sure that things could be a certain way. And so I thought, I'm gonna figure this out. Like, I was like determined. I've always been kind of like that. I'm like a very stubborn kind of person. I'm very like when I make up my mind about something, I'm like, I will get to the bottom of this, But it does serve you. So if you happen to be stubborn, it's not a bad thing. It's just a matter of what you value, really. But I had this sense that I was going to fix this problem of separation. I didn't know that terminology back then, but that was my experience. I believed that me figuring things out, me controlling myself, me being in denial about the things or the places within me where I was hurting the most, that would make me solve separation, that I would feel better because I was no longer dealing with that problem over there. And these were whole parts of myself that I was rejecting. And it just led to a lot of self-deception and a lot of pain and heartbreak, because that was me that I was rejecting. That was my divine self that I was saying was not divine, that I was trying to push away from me and not answer those calls for love. And that was never the way. All it did was increase a sense of self-righteousness, while at the same time, covering up the sense of shame and self-judgment there. And then I found Jeff and Shalea's work, and it was a bit of a journey for me, actually. At first, a lot of these things were so unconscious for me. I kind of like took that old conditioning. I mean, it's there until it's not, right? Like, came into this work and I thought, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to do the same control thing. And, this work has really shown me the truth of what Jeff and Shaleia are actually teaching. And it's that you're already where you want to be in spiritual truth. And all you got to do is just love yourself where you are, and just align with love yourself. Separation isn't real. Separation from God, separation from each twin flame, it's not real. Everything's actually fine. You're actually in heaven in spiritual truth, but you're experiencing the illusion of hell. And so all that needs to be done when you're dealing with an illusion is to shine the light on it. And that's what the mirror exercise does. It's just bringing love to that place where you're experiencing not love. Course in Miracles says that either you're experiencing love or a call for love. That's it. There's no, big issue of solve this problem and then you can go be with God. It's like, no, like, the only problem is that you feel separate from love, and you solve that by loving yourself. And so, I just notice like a lot of times on this journey that we can kind of fall into this trap where, whether it's because of comparison, like, having in our mind, like seeing someone else on their journey and feeling like, well, I'm not in that place and maybe I should be. And, maybe that means that something's wrong with me, or maybe, I should be more like that. Sometimes it can come from expectations of expecting what our journey is supposed to look like and feel like. Those judgments, they don't really serve us at all. We're all so incredibly unique, and there is no comparison. There's no way to say that you should be different than how you are. You should be in a different place than where you are. We've all been through different things on our journey. We've all made different choices and had different experiences. We're all unique in terms of our soul blueprint. There's only one person in the whole universe that is just like you, and that's your twin. And even they're not a carbon copy. And so it's really okay to really honor your journey and realize that nothing needs to change about it. It's just the resistance that we sometimes have, and it's really safe to let that go. This is the way forward. This is how we know the next step. It's not because we figured out in our head how to make ourselves different. We know the next step because it's what's in front of us that's calling for love. Jeff and Shaleia say that that you're moving forward because you're moving through the upset right now. That's how you know that you're moving forward. Not because you have no problems, not because you're not upset anymore, not because you never feel bad, not because you feel so on top of the world and you have this high enlightened perspective on life. You know that you're making progress because you're moving through the upset. You're bringing love to that place. That's literally it. That is the journey. That is the work. And so any part of us that has been complicating it, any place where we feel like it has to be more than this, it really doesn't. It's really just loving yourself. That is the whole teaching. And it's really safe to be set free in this area. And it really does free you up to have what you really want, which is to be with God. And you don't want to believe that there's delays and issues and problems that are preventing you from being with God. You just want to be with God now. And the beautiful thing about the mirror exercise is that it's just a choice away to just be with God, to experience the love and the peace of your union with God and your twin flame anytime you want to, because there is no separation. And so self-acceptance is the way to go. The love that we have for God and the desire that we have for God is so strong. And whether we're aware of it or not, all of our lives, ever since we chose the illusion of separation, we have been looking desperately for God. And we try so hard to find a way to get there. And we're so desperate for God that we will go through some things. We will do things like rejecting ourselves and judging ourselves and being hard on ourselves and feeling like we should be different or things should be different. We do these things not because they actually are the way to be with God, but because we want to be with God so much and we're just confused on the way. And this kind of brings me into the next piece here, and that is really accepting, loving teaching and guidance, from our gurus. We don't know the way. Ego certainly doesn't know the way. We are not ego. I want to be clear there. But there are those who have an enlightened perspective and who are our brothers and sisters, but who have gone before us, and they teach the way. And a big part of accepting yourself where you are, of loving yourself where you are, it's very counterintuitive. It's not the way that the world teaches how to solve problems. It's basically directing you to go into the place where you feel like God's not there and bring love there. And that's not something that we feel naturally inclined to do. You know, we've so gotten used to running from ourselves, so gotten used to, you know, avoiding ourselves or running whatever patterns we've been running, to try to like get away from those uncomfortable feelings and those uncomfortable experiences, because it's just so painful to believe in separation from love, separation from God. And, you know, the guru really holds that peace, and they've gone before you. And so they really shine a light on what it means to be with God and how to get there, you know, how to really have the experience of being with God. And it might be different than what you expect. It might be different than what you know or ever have known before. And that's why we have our spiritual teachers, our guides, our gurus, because they show us the way. This is not what I thought most of my life would lead to my healing and my peace. I never thought that this is what would lead to my salvation, that this is what would lead to my freedom, that this was the way to experience more God in my life. If you told me this 15 years ago, I would have never imagined that this would be the way to experience more God. I had all these ideas, all these misconceptions, all these beliefs about how to move forward. And it was only when I was willing to challenge those beliefs, to question them, and to listen to those who knew better than I did and who had the thing, as Jeff and Shaleia say, that I wanted. That is a better relationship with God and a better relationship with my twin flame. And everything in me taught me that I needed to fix this problem. You know, this problem of separation. Separation is so real, and I've got to fix this problem that I have. And Jeff and Shaleia came in and said, separation is not real. You don't have a problem. You don't have the problem you think you have here. And all you got to do is just choose to align with love, and then you'll be able to see. You'll release these things that are clouding your vision, and you'll be able to see the truth. And the truth, as the Bible says, will set you free. And it takes humility. It takes a willingness to change, as Jeff and Shaleia have shared. But it really is the way to be free, to just love yourself where you are. You know, a lot of times we wear ourselves out. You know, it's what we call an energy leak, when we try really hard to do something, but we're going about it the wrong way. And we lose our energy. It's a bad investment, you know, energetically. And this is a big energy leak that a lot of us can have. And so I hope that this really gives you that reassurance that it's safe for you to be where you are. It doesn't matter if you're going through a dark night of the soul or you're in the scariest place you've ever been in your life. It doesn't matter if you're feeling pain that is just coming up for love, and it's dark and seems like it's endless, and maybe there's anxiety, and it's just like, it's a lot, you know. Maybe it feels like there's no end in sight. Maybe you've been healing the same thing for a while, layers and layers of a core block. And there's this part of you that's like, you know, should it be different? Should I be in a different place right now? Like, and you kind of get into that mode of comparison and thinking like, well, you know, are my peers struggling with this? Are they having a hard time with these things? I can most certainly tell you that we all on this path are facing those challenges, and it's okay. And it's not about comparison and us all going through the exact same thing in the exact same way. It's about trusting that God is guiding our path, and what's in front of us is what is perfect for us. I remember there was a TFAS class. I believe it was TFAS. It might have been LPC. It was one of the very early classes from Jeff and Shaleia, where Guru Jeff was talking about how when you're on your way to harmonious union, it's like you're at the store, and God will guide you to pick different things up in the store, and you don't really know what it is that you're getting. And God will be like, you need some orange juice, or you need, I don't know, just like some cereal, or you need, potatoes or whatever. And you're just like picking all these things up at the grocery store and you're like, okay, God, that doesn't really make sense, but if you say so, I'll go pick that up. And then like when you're with your twin flame, everything makes sense. And you're like, oh, that's why I went through that. That's why I had that experience. This is why it is so safe for us to let go of all these judgments that we hold in our mind and to just sink back into our heart and just be where we are and realize that you are divine by nature. God created you in his image. You're an extension of God. You're his child. And you can't undo that. You can't change that. You can't diminish that. You're certainly not a problem for being with God. You're an extension of God. How can an extension of God be a problem for being with God? It's a silly thing when you look at it with divine logic, but these things are just so deeply ingrained in us. And so I just really felt guided to share this topic because I feel like on my journey, this has been a big deal. And this realizing this and just choosing to just accept where I'm at and just love myself where I'm at, to let go of all these judgments, all these ideas of where I think I should be, and to just realize that I should be where I am. And only love is real. And so I don't have to worry about, being, bad or being, a sinner or feeling like I'm a problem that needs to be fixed. I'm not. Ego is what has a problem, not me. And not you. You are not your ego. That is not you. It's something that you put energy into for a while, but it's an illusion. It dissolves, just like everything else that is not real. But love always remains. The truth always remains. And so it's safe to love with a full and open heart. It's safe to love fully. It's safe to be wherever God would have you be in yourself, in your life, and to just love unconditionally and love totally and completely. And, if it feels hard, if it feels like there's a challenge there, it's okay. That's just your next piece. But the way forward is not judgment, and it's not rejection, and it's not feeling bad about yourself, and it's not, having expectations of yourself, shoulda, coulda, woulda. It's about just being where you are right now and realizing that God is with you there and just choosing to love yourself there. That's the whole teaching. That's the mirror exercise. That's what the teachings of unionism is all about. And that really is what sets you free. You don't need anything more than that. Nothing needs to be added to it. Nothing needs to be changed. Jeff and Shaleia talk often about Twin Flame Ascension School and how, the classes, like they're just teaching the same thing over and over and over, like the same thing. And so many different ways, but we need that. We need to hear it from that angle in that way and work through that upset, even though it's very similar to the last upset. There's just something different about this one. We've got to go to this place. We've got to see God here. We've got to look at it again. We've got to find clarity and peace here with love. And it's what it takes. It's safe to be on the journey, and you are not a problem, and you most certainly are not a problem preventing you from being with God. God is with you now. God is with you always. And so it's safe to love and accept yourself now. It's safe to love and accept yourself always. And yeah, there doesn't have to be any kind of condition on love. That's just something we made up. We can let that go. And so you're not a problem. You're not in the way. Nothing needs to be fixed about you. Course in Miracles says, that either there's love or a call for love. And so it's just safe to love yourself where you're at and be where you're at. It's safe to be honest about where you're at. You don't need to imagine, create some illusion that you're somewhere that you're not. It's safe to be where you really are. Be raw and vulnerable and honest with yourself about where you're really at and how you're really feeling and what you're really going through. It's safe to look at yourself and to see what you're experiencing and be honest about that. I feel like a big part of this whole thing of like when we don't accept ourselves, it's just sometimes we just don't want to see. We don't want to see where we actually are at. And it's not because we're going to find out that we're not divine. It's because we're going to find a part of us that just needs love. And now we know how to meet that need. So it's safe to be honest. It's safe to be where we are and to truly achieve what this teaching of unionism is all about. And that is oneness with God in terms of your experience of oneness with God. And you only get there by being where you are and loving where you are. Jeff and Shaleia, another thing that they say is, you can't move on from something until you've loved it fully. And so it's safe to love yourself where you're at. That's how you move forward. That is the key. And so, yeah, I hope that this message just really speaks to your heart and just reminds you that there's no problem to solve. You certainly are not a problem. You're a child of God. You're perfect. You're divine. You're loved, and you're worthy of love. And loving yourself is the way. Being with yourself where you are, no conditions, 100% where you are, raw, messy, experiencing all kinds of things, maybe even illusions you're experiencing. That's fine. It's okay to be where you are and love yourself there. That is the way through. That is the way to your victory. That is the way to come to know God more, is to love yourself where you are. So safe to love yourself, safe to accept yourself, safe to be honest with yourself. It's safe to just love yourself unconditionally and totally and completely. And everything that is not true and real will fall away, but what is true will remain, and love will always remain, because only love is real. So thank you so much for joining me with this sermon. Now for our closing prayer, followed by our closing ohms. Father, I accept your word into my heart. I will honor your will in my life and will follow you without hesitation anywhere you ask. I know you guide me into your heart where I belong. I accept that you are everywhere and your teaching is in all things. God, I know you provide me clarity in this teaching of union, that I may be forever in union with you. I accept that you are in me as you are in my brother. I will not deny my brother your word, and will share your teaching with him in any way you ask, and only as you ask. For when I share my salvation with him, I fully claim my salvation and return to you with him. In Christ's name, Om, Amen. Speaking this prayer in your heart means that you have accepted that you are on the path of awakening to your true divine nature. This is what it means to be a unionist. Follow the teachings of union with God wherever you find them, and purify your consciousness into perfect union with your Creator. And now for our closing ohms. Namaste.
Thank you everyone for listening and watching this sermon. I thought personally that it was perfect. It was like 30 minutes of very just goodness, and I thank Soraya for talking about this. I think the timing was perfect, and I feel like because February is a very romantic month, there's always a need to remember that even if you are alone right now, even if you are not with your twin flame, even if you are going through challenges, you deserve love, you deserve to be romanced, and you deserve to feel good about yourself no matter what. And I feel that she really she really expressed that beautifully throughout the sermon. by saying that there is no ego, there is no separation. It's just an illusion, first of all. And also, yeah, you are just coming back to love. You are actually in heaven, but experiencing separation right now because of your choices. But it also means that you are always going to go back to love and go back to God, and that's the thing that matters, and that's the only desire that you actually have in your heart. And you deserve that love all the time, always. You are never broken, and you don't need fixing, and we can surrender the idea that we are sinners, basically. We can surrender this idea that some of us are doomed or things like that, or that we're a bad person, because we are always divine. We were created from love. There was never separation in the picture, it never existed. Yeah, so I think I will sit through this, and I invite you to really meditate on this sermon. It was really beautiful. And yeah, if you liked that sermon and you want to see and listen to all of the sermons that we do, I really invite you to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can see all the very good discussions and Sunday services that we have. And also check out our website, unionism.org, where we upload all of these sermons, all of the Sunday services, all of the meditations and music, so that you can really soak in all the good vibes that we have here at the Church of Union. Don't forget that you can donate and tithe if you really resonate with our message and want to support, us bringing heaven on earth and really help people feel better in general. And just like contribute to the Church of Union's message to the world, which is really beautiful. I would also invite you to come join us right after this Sunday service to our after church tea time. It is happening in our Unionism Spiritual Discussion Facebook group, and it's at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it's basically a live discussion where people from the community just discuss what happened during the service and the sermon. And it's really juicy, and it helps integrate all the healing and all the good vibes that I was talking about. So yeah, I wish you a very good Sunday, and I hope that you will see yourself as divine and perfect and not broken. Bye bye.